Hey, one more time, let's discuss the competition in a team, why I think it's important, and I'm suggesting to look at it from a little bit different angle. Let's say you have a team of 10 programmers, and there are different people in this team. No matter what they say about all programmers are talented and all people are not lazy and everybody are happy to do the work, but that's not true. In any team, some people will be happy to do the work, they will have the talent, they will have the skills, the experience, they will know what they're doing, and there will be other people who are not as effective, as productive. And the majority of work, the majority of important complex problems will usually be solved by the minority of people, by some people who are the most talented, the most experienced, the most motivated. There are different people, different researchers, different authors saying that the difference between the most effective programmer and an average programmer is not a few percent, is not even a few times. But the difference is so huge that some authors say that they are 30 times, more talented programmers are 30 times more effective than average programmers, or maybe 100 more effective. I've heard different numbers. I don't know how exactly they measure, I don't know how exactly they calculate the numbers, but I can definitely confirm that from my experience that people who do the most work and people who solve the most complex problems, they are multiple times more effective than average programmers and people who just do the work, who just write code. The question is, how do we motivate that people? How do we reward that people? Because reward actually equals motivation. You reward people for what they did in order to encourage them to continue at the same pace, continue solving that complex problems and continue being more effective than everybody else. In a normal way, like traditional way, we can pay them 30 times more. If they are 30 times more effective, then we give them 30 times more money, and that will be okay for them, I guess. But in reality, in most projects, we cannot do that for many reasons. We just can't do that. Maybe in freelance mode, in people working remotely, completely remotely, on a contract based, when we pay by result, that will be possible. But in traditional setup, in traditional company, it's not possible. People usually get the same paychecks, and maybe a little bit more. Maybe the senior developer who is more talented, more effective, gonna get maybe twice as much money as the person who is doing almost nothing, but not 30 times more money. So the question is, how do we, if you are the manager, if you are the owner of a company, if you are the owner of the team, how do you reward that people? What do you give them? I think there is one thing which we can, as managers, give those super talented people in order to keep them in the team, in order to keep them interested in contributing more. That thing is recognition. So we have to recognize them. We have to demonstrate them that we know that they are much better than everybody else. If we tell them that, we can actually not pay them 30 times more money. We can still pay them just 2 times more than everybody else, and they will be happy. But we have to show them that we understand, that we recognize their contribution. We know that they are much better than everybody else. That will be enough. That will be a good replacement for money. And actually, it's not only my idea. If you read about what motivates people, what motivates programmers, you can, in multiple articles, you can find the information that recognition and appreciation and things like that actually are more important in many cases than money in many situations. So how do we give this recognition? What do we get it from? The people are working together. How is it possible to tell one person that he or she is 30 times better? Results are better than results of other people. I think that the only possible way to do it, which will not hurt others, which will not tell others that we don't want to appreciate them, that there is no ability for them to get to the position number one, is a fair competition. So you have to design a fair competition, fair rules in your team, just like we people have in sport, just like we have in running, in swimming, in snowboarding, in weightlifting, in all other different sports. We define fair rules for the fair competition, and then people start playing by these rules. And yes, we have Olympic champions, and we have just regular sport people who are far away from Olympic champions. The same should happen in your team. You should define fair rules which will automatically give people recognition. will give your best people, your most talented people, what you cannot give them through money. You have to pay them 10 or 15 or 30 times more than you pay everybody else, but you cannot do that because you don't have such big budgets, and nobody will approve that high distance in paychecks. But if you design your rules in a fair way, if you set up a fair competition in your team, then you will give them the recognition which is more important for them than money. That's the way you deal with talented people, with the best performers in your team. If you don't do that, you don't pay them much more than everybody else, and you don't recognize them much more than everybody else, then they're gonna quit. That's it. And you will stay with average people. You don't want that, right? Think about this. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.